Hello. Come on to a comfortable seated position. Take a moment to settle into the practice and breathe. Inhale calm and tranquility into your body, and exhale, let it go. For this practice, there are a few poses where blocks would be handy and a couple of poses where a strap would be handy, but I will always offer modifications if you don't have either. So just take a few breaths, breathing in calm and peace. No matter what's happening around us, within our families or friends or within the world, there can be unrest and challenges and stress. But no matter what's happening around us, we can always tap into that inner calm, that inner peace within us, deep inside of us. Think of practicing with equanimity today. No matter how challenging the poses are, see if you can find that little inner calm, that stillness within you. And it seems I'll be joining you in that practice of equanimity today, as this is not my first time going through this recording. I made it almost to the end and realized my microphone was on and you wouldn't be able to hear any of the words. So I'm back at it again. And so I'll be practicing with calm and equanimity, or be trying to practice. So we'll begin with Dirga breath. It's a 3-part wave breath. You inhale and exhale through your nose. So as you inhale through your nose, fill up your belly, followed by a wave through your rib cage, and finally inhaling again right up into your chest, and then exhale, let it go. Inhale, filling up your belly, your rib cage, your chest, and exhale. Inhale, fill up your belly and lower back, your rib cage and middle back, your chest and upper back, and let go. Continue at your own pace, inhaling as if you're doing it in 3 waves. And release and breathe naturally. Bring your hands to your side. As you inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Turn your palms out as you exhale and lower your arms down. Inhale, lift your arms up. And exhale, lower them. Again. Slowly uncross your legs and make your way onto tabletop. On an inhale, arch your back, lower your chest and your belly towards the mat, tilting your pelvis and looking up. As you exhale, let your head lower, reach your spine towards the ceiling and round your back. And inhale, arch. And exhale, round. Keep going at your own pace. And maybe pause if one particular spot feels really good on your body. Just hang out there. Next time you come through a flat back, a neutral spine, pause here. Walk your knees together. Come onto the tops of your feet and lower your hips to your heels. Stretch your hands forward. And now as you inhale, lift up through tabletop. Walk your hands forward a little bit more And lower right onto your belly and come forward and up in cobra. And lower down, press into the mat with your hands lifting up through tabletop. As you do so, round your spine, coming back through child's pose. Inhale, lift, rounding your spine through tabletop, and then come forward, arching your back through cobra. Keep going through here at your own pace. Waking up your spine, your back, opening your chest. And the next time you come through tabletop, pause here and bring your knees together and bring your hands under your shoulders, knees below your hips. Just stay where you are, and I'll show you from the front how it looks. So knees are together. And now lift your left knee out to the side. Flex your left foot. Make small circles with that left knee. Gradually make the circles bigger. Can you lift that knee higher? Can you bring it forward towards that left shoulder? And pause, and then go the other direction. Just moving that knee with control. Making as big a circle as you can, lifting it up as high as you can. And now keep the knee lifted as high as you can and straighten your left leg. Flex that foot. Can you lift it higher? Can you lift it more forward? And lower that knee to the mat. And now let your hips hang out to the left. Maybe move them forward or back to find just the right stretch for that hip. And come on back to center. And now knees are together. Lift your right knee out to the side. Foot is flexed. Right knee is bent. Make small circles with that right knee. Gradually making them bigger. Can you lift it any higher? Moving with control. And then pause and go the other direction. And now keep that knee lifted as high as you can and straighten your right leg. Lift it, the foot up higher. Bring that foot forward and breathe. And then lower the right knee to the mat. And let your hips roll to the side. Maybe moving the hips forward or back to find just the right stretch. And then back to center. Tuck your toes. Lift your knees up off the mat and walk your feet forward to your hands. And fold. Breathe here. On an inhale, reach your arms out to the side. Come all the way to standing. Lift your arms up over your head. As you exhale, bend your knees slightly and fold forward, hinging at the hips. Keep your spine straight. Inhale your arms out to the side, all the way to standing. Exhale, palms together and fold. Inhale, reach out to the side, up to standing. And exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Now stay here for a few breaths. If your hands don't reach the mat, you can cross your arms or rest your forearms on your thighs. Bend your knees as much as you need to avoid rounding your back. Walk your feet together. Now reach your hands behind your legs, possibly grabbing your wrists, maybe your elbows.
And from here, see if you can straighten your legs. Breathe as you fold more deeply. Release your arms. Inhaling, reach your arms out to the side. Come all the way to standing. Hands to your heart. And release. So come onto the front of the mat. Inhaling, reach your arms up over your head. Exhaling, fold forward. If you're using blocks, keep them handy near the front of your mat. Bend your knees slightly and step your right foot straight back behind you. Pivot on the toes and lower that right heel to the mat. And now straighten the left leg, sending the left hip back. Or, if you want to use blocks, draw that left hip back, right hip forward. And now from here, come onto the toes of your right foot, sending your hips forward just an inch or two. Lower that right heel down, and then I'll show you without blocks so you can see what I'm doing. Roll onto the back of the left foot, flexing those toes, lifting those left toes towards you. And then come forward and back, forward and back. Just rocking through the pose. And then lower both feet to the mat, bend the left knee, and step the right foot forward to meet the left. Fold. Placing both hands on the mat, bend the right knee slightly and step the left foot straight back behind you. Pivot on the toes and lower that left heel to the mat. And then straighten the right leg, sending the right hip back. Hands either on the mat or on blocks. Now lift the left heel up and bring the hips slightly forward. Lower the left heel down and lift the right toes up. And rock back and forth. And lower both feet to the mat. Bend the right knee and step the left foot forward to meet the right. And fold. Inhaling, reach your arms out to the side, all the way to standing. Palms together. And release. On an inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Exhale, fold forward. Place both hands on the mat and step your right foot straight back behind you as far as you can go. Look straight ahead. On an inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Maybe deepen the lunge. Lower both hands to the mat. Step the right foot back as far as you can and lower that right knee to the mat. And now send both hips forward. If you need some padding for that right knee, you can double up your mat and breathe. Place your hands on your hips, still sending the hips forward. Reach your arms up over your head. Breathe. Lower both hands to the mat and bring both hands to the inside of the left foot. So from the front, it will look like this. Press into the big toe mound of that left foot. Hug that left knee to the left shoulder. Still send the hips forward. Bend your elbows and lower your shoulders towards the mat. If you don't have blocks, just keep going here, or maybe your forearms will reach the mat, or you can place your forearms on a block. But hug that left knee to left shoulder. Press that left toe, left big toe mound into the mat. Breathe here. And then straighten your arms. And now place your left forearm on your left thigh. And if you have a strap handy, this is where you might need it. Lift your right foot up off the mat. With your right hand, reach behind and try to grab the right ankle. If the hand and ankle
are not destined to meet, you can place a strap around your right ankle, a strap or whatever you're using, and then pull it towards you. And just pull that. Also send that right hip forward. Breathe. And then release your foot. Place both hands on the mat. Tuck your right toes under. Lift your right knee up off the mat and step your left foot back to downward facing dog. Breathe here. Now bend your right knee and step your right foot forward between your hands. Look straight ahead. As you inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Bring your right hip back, left hip forward. And breathe. Option to straighten the left leg. Lower both hands to the mat and step your left foot back as far as you can and lower that left knee to the mat. Still sending the hips forward. Now bring both hands to the inside of the right foot. And just like on the other side, really hug that right knee to the right chest. Press into the big toe mound of the right foot. Send your hips forward, bend your elbows, and lower. Maybe your forearms come onto the mat or onto a block. Or just keep bending your elbows, offering your chest lower while sending both hips forward. Hug that right knee to the right shoulder. And then straighten your legs. Place your right forearm on your right thigh. Lift your left foot up off the mat. Reach your left arm behind and grab that left ankle. Or put the strap around the ankle and pull the ankle forward with your strap. Now send both hips forward and breathe. Even here, can you find calm and peace within this challenging pose? Just find the stillness. Release the foot. Place both hands on either side of the right foot. Tuck your left toes under. Lift your left knee up off the mat and step back to downward facing dog. And breathe here. Look past your hands and walk your feet forward to your hands. As you inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, reach your arms out to the side. Lift your arms up over your head. Hands to your heart. And release. Inhaling, reach your arms up over your head. As you exhale, fold forward. Can you deepen the fold? On an inhale, come halfway up. As you exhale, fold forward. Place both hands on the mat and step back to plank. Breathe here. Nice straight line between your shoulders, hips, and heels. Or you always have the option to have your knees on the mat, and you can change this option at any time throughout your practice. Keep your elbows close to your rib cage, and slowly with control, lower down to the mat. Come onto the tops of your feet and send your chest forward and up. Lower down, tuck your toes, and lift your whole body up through plank to downward facing dog. Hands and feet stay in the same place for plank and downward facing dog. Maybe bend your knees, straighten one leg and then the other. Look past your hands and walk your feet forward to your hands. As you inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, fold forward.
Inhale, reach your arms out to the side, come all the way to standing, hands to your heart, and release. Keeping your feet hip distance apart, feet parallel, start with your hands on your hips and bend your knees. Sit back in that imaginary chair, so send your hips back and then maybe deepen the squat and then sit up nice and tall. Breathing here, option to stay here, or bring your palms together at your heart, or reach your arms forward but draw your shoulders back. Maybe deepening the squat, Utkatasana. Breathe. As you exhale, fold forward. On an inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, fold, place both hands on the mat and step back to plank. Check that your wrist creases are parallel to the front of the mat, wrists directly below your shoulders, and fingers spread wide. Keeping your elbows close to your rib cage, slowly lower down to the mat. Come onto the tops of your feet and send your chest forward and up. Slowly lower down, tuck your toes, and lift up and back to downward facing dog. Breathe here. Bend your right knee and step your right foot forward between your hands. If you have your blocks handy and you want to use them, keep them handy. And adjust your left foot so you can pivot on the toes and lower that left heel to the mat. And now straighten the right leg, drawing the right hip back. Or place your hands on blocks. Bend your right knee, hands back on the mat, step your right foot back to plank. Breathe, pause here, and then slowly lower down to the mat. Come onto the tops of your feet, send your chest forward and up in Bhujangasana. Slowly lower down, tuck your toes, press your hands into the mat, push your body up through plank, and lift up and back to downward facing dog. Bend your left knee and step your left foot forward between your hands. Adjust your right foot so you can pivot on the toes and lower that right heel to the mat. And now send hips back, straighten the left leg, really drawing that left hip back. Hands on mat or on blocks. And breathe. Bend your left knee, adjust your feet and step your left foot back to meet your right. Coming back to plank pose. Breathe here and slowly lower down to the mat. Point your toes and lift forward and up to cobra. Slowly lower down, tuck your toes, and lift up and back to downward facing dog. Let's breathe here. Bend your knees and walk your feet forward to your hands. On an inhale, come halfway up. As you exhale, fold forward. Inhale, reach your arms out. Come all the way to standing. Hands to your heart. And release. Bring your hands to your hips. Feet hip distance apart, feet parallel. Bend your knees and sit your hips back. And sit up nice and straight, coming back into Utkatasana. Now here, you can stay right where you are, or you can bring your palms together, or option of arms out front with shoulders back. Now energetically, hug your ankles and knees together. They don't really move, but you're just pressing them towards each other, firing up the adductors.
And now push them away from each other. Your knees and your ankles. And then back to center. On an inhale, reach your arms up over your head. And exhale, fold. As you inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, fold forward. Place both hands on the mat and step back to plank. Palakasana. Again, knees off or on the mat. Slowly lower down. Point your toes and lift forward and up. In Cobra. In Cobra, to protect your lower back, keep your lower rib cage on the mat. If your lower back feels good and strong and healthy, you can lift up a little bit more, but it don't have to lift up too much. You're sending your chest forward, shoulders back. Lower down. Tuck your toes. Keep your elbows close to your rib cage. And lift up through plank. And back to downward facing dog. Breathe here. Bend your right knee and step your right foot forward between your hands. Lower your left knee to the mat and send both hips forward. Place your right forearm on your right thigh and have that strap handy again if you want to use it. Lift your left foot up off the mat and now reach your left arm behind. Grab the ankle or use the strap and pull that left ankle and left hip forward. And breathe. And then release that foot. Place both hands on either side of your right foot. Lift your left knee up off the mat and step your right foot back and make your way back into downward facing dog. Breathe here. Bend your left knee and step your left foot forward between your hands. And lower your right knee to the mat and send both hips forward. Place your left forearm on your left thigh. Reach your right hand behind you. Lift your right ankle up. Either grab your ankle with your hand or use the strap and pull your ankle forward. And send that right hip forward too, looking straight ahead. Breathe. Can you come forward just a touch more? Release your hand, lower that foot to the mat. Place both hands on either side of your left foot. Tuck your right toes under, lift the right knee up off the mat, and step the left foot back to meet the right, coming into downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Breathe here. So in down dog, press into the mat with your fingertips, your knuckles. Try to keep your wrists nice and light. And now take your elbows and externally rotate your arms. And now draw your shoulders away from your ears. Bend your knees as much as you need to lift your hips up and back. And then keep your spine straight. Option to straighten the legs. Look past your hands and walk your feet forward to your hands. As you inhale, come halfway up. As you exhale, fold forward. Inhale, reach your arms out to the side, come all the way to standing. Lift your arms up over your head. Bring your hands to your heart and release. Turn and face the side of your mat, taking a nice wide stance. An approximate measurement is if you put your arms out, your wrists would be directly above your ankles. Pivot on your right heel and turn your right toes out. Place your hands on your hips. Bend your right knee. Press into the mat with your left foot. Open the left shoulder back so you're still facing the side, but take a look at your right knee. Have it pointing in the same direction as your right foot, or adjust your foot so that they are. Shoulders directly above your hips. Reach your arms out to the side, palms facing down. Turn and look over your right fingertips. And breathe. Reach forward with your right hand, go as far as you can, and lower your right hand to the mat. And as you inhale, reach your left arm up. Breathe. Maybe deepen the lunge. One more breath. Make your way back up. Lower your arms and straighten your right leg. Bring your arms out to the side, palms facing forward. Draw your shoulder blades together as you reach your fingers away from you. Keeping arms and legs straight, reach forward with your right fingertips. Go as far as you can, let your right hand come down and reach your left arm up. Breathe here. In triangle pose, Trikonasana. Slowly come on back up and lower your arms. Pivot on that right heel and bring the toes in. And now pivot on the toes and bring the heels in. So toes stay where they were, but heels are pointed in. Bend your elbows. So the elbows are same height as the shoulders, and have your palms facing each other. Now bend your knees in Utthita Konasana, goddess pose. Breathe, maybe deepening the pose or staying where you are. Nice straight spine. Breathe. Shoulders back. One more breath. Straighten your legs and straighten your arms. So the next pose we're coming into is a squat. If it bothers your knees, if you have sensitive knees or have had injuries, stay in goddess pose. Make sure that your knees and feet are pointing in the same direction. That really helps protect your knees. But if you're able to, come join me in the squat, or just play around with goddess pose while we come into the squat. So if you're coming to the squat, bring your feet slightly closer together, but a little bit wider than hip distance apart. Bring your palms together. Toes are pointing out at a 45-degree angle. Palms together at your heart. Bend your knees. Keeping your spine straight, slowly lower all the way down to the mat. If your heels lift here, it becomes a balancing pose, but you can also roll up a couple of small towels under your heels. And now from here, hug your knees into your elbows. Really push your knees together. And with your elbows, push your knees apart. You're working against each of the muscles. Straight spine. One more breath. Release your hands and come on up to a standing position. Take your feet nice and wide. Feet right now are parallel to each other, nice wide stance. Now pivot on your left heel, turn your left toes out the other direction. Start with your hands on your hips and bend your left knee. Keep your shoulders above your hips and bring your arms out to the side. Palms down. Turn and look over your left hand. Breathe. Tap into that calm, that equanimity within, as you maybe allow your pose to deepen. And now reach forward with your left hand and then lower your left hand to the mat and reach your right arm up. You can also place a block beside your left foot for your hand if you wish. Breathe here. Slowly come on up to standing. Lower your arms and straighten your left leg. Now bring your arms out to the side, palms facing forward. Turn and look over your left hand and reach forward with your left fingertips. Keep space in that left side. Arms and legs are straight. When you've gone as far as you can with your left hand, let it come down, land on your left leg wherever it does, and reach your right arm up. Breathe here. Make your way back up to standing and lower your arms. Pivot on the left heel and bring the toes in. Bring your arms out to the side. Wrists are shoulder height. Palms facing forward. Knees have a slight bend in them, not much, they appear straight. Hinge at the hips, keep your spine straight. Lead with your chest and fold forward halfway. Option to stay here, or option to reach your arms out front. And breathe. One more breath and lower your hands to the mat. Let your upper body drape towards the mat. You can also place a block here for your hands if you prefer. Begin to bend your right knee and walk your hands over to your right foot. Press your left foot firmly into the mat for a nice stretch on that left adductor, left inner thigh. And now come on to center. Legs are straight, hands on the mat in the middle. Begin to bend your left knee and walk your hands over to your left foot. And keep that right foot flat on the mat. All four corners of that right foot on the mat. Back to center. Place your hands on your hips and come on up to standing and release your arms and walk your feet together. So we'll come into tree pose. This is a great pose for practicing equanimity and calm, because if you're not feeling relaxed, I find it very hard to do balancing poses. So press your right foot firmly into the mat. Have your right knee slightly bent. Bring your hands to your hips. Come onto the toes of your left foot. Turn your left knee out to the side. Bring the sole of your left foot to your right ankle. You can rest your toes on the mat. This is already tree pose. Or bring the sole of your left foot and press it into your right calf. Or bring the sole of your right foot into your left inner thigh, but avoid the knee. If you can't make it to your inner thigh, keep that foot on your calf. Focus your gaze on a spot in front of you. Option to keep your hands on your hips the whole time, or palms together, or lift your arms up. Find your breath. Find your calm. Stillness. Lower your arms and lower that foot. So now press your left foot into the mat. Left knee has a micro bend in it. Hands on hips. Come onto the toes of the right foot and turn the right knee out. Slide the sole of the right foot to the left ankle. Option to place the sole of the right foot on the calf, or maybe the inner thigh. Whichever version is right for you today. Practice with equanimity and calm. Arms in any position that's right for you. Slowly lower your arms and lower your foot. So the next pose we're coming into is dancer's pose. We're all warmed up for it. It can be a balancing pose. It usually is, but if you prefer to just play with a pose and get a feel for it, turn and face a wall where you can place your hand just on the wall. And stand back from the wall maybe 2 or 3 feet if you're using a wall to help with balance. And have a strap handy if So just before we come into the pose, lift one foot up and see if you can grab the ankle, and then keep the knees together and look straight ahead. If you can do so, you won't need a strap. And check with both feet. It might be different on one side. If you do need a strap, place the strap around the ankle and then just grab like this. And so if you're standing in front of the wall, just one hand will be holding the ankle, the other hand will just rest on the wall. Look straight ahead. Root down into your left foot. Come onto the toes of your right foot. Look straight ahead and focus your gaze on a spot. Lift your right ankle and grab the right ankle with your hand or the strap. Keep your knees together. Now lift your left arm forward, maybe touching the wall or reaching forward. When you're ready, lean forward with your left hand. Kick your right foot up and back behind you and reach forward. Breathe. Play with it. And come on back up and lower the foot. We'll do the other side. So root down in your right foot, right knee is slightly bent. Take your left hand behind you. And when you're ready, lift the left foot up off the mat and grab the ankle with your left hand or strap. Keep your knees together. And now reach your right arm up. When you're ready, lean forward with your right hand and kick the left foot up and back. Breathe here. Can you kick the foot back any higher? Come on back up. Release the foot and come on down. That is Natarajasana, dancer's pose. On an inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Exhale, fold forward. Breathe. Can you let go? Bend your knees and make your way to a seated position. Bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees be wide away from you. So I'll show you from the side. If your back is rounding a lot here, try to sit up straight. And if it's still having trouble keeping straight while your hands are holding onto your ankles, start with your hands behind you to straighten your back. And then use the mat behind you to push your chest forward. Or grab your ankles and send your chest forward. Breathe into the stretch. If your elbows are anywhere near your thighs or knees, push your knees open with your elbows as you send your chest forward. Breathe into the stretch. Can you let go just a little bit more? Come on back up. And bring your knees together. And take your feet wide away from you so your legs are in a V shape. Take a look at each foot. Make sure they're pointing straight towards the ceiling. Start with your hands behind you. Straighten your spine. And if your hands are behind you still, push your chest forward. Keep your knees flat on the mat. Press your knees into the mat. Send your chest forward as if you're trying to reach the wall in front of you. If you can keep your spine straight while doing so, you can walk your hands forward. Breathe. Press those knees into the mat. Flex those toes towards you. And then slowly walk back and bring your feet together. If you're using a strap, keep it handy. And lower onto your back. Now straighten both legs. And keep keep your left leg flat on the mat. Bend your right knee and place a strap around the arch of your right foot. If you're not using a strap, take your first 2 fingers and grab your big toe and then straighten the right leg. Or place a strap around the arch of your foot and lower the foot as much as you need to so your right leg is straight. Left leg stays straight the whole time. You can keep the strap in 2 hands or 1, up to you, and then bring the foot up, flex those toes towards you, and breathe. Can you bring the foot a little closer to you? Press that left leg deep into the mat. A little bit more. And now slowly lower your right foot to the mat and place both feet in the strap. Now your left foot is in the strap. Release your right leg. Place your right leg flat on the mat, right foot flexed. Lift your left foot up off the mat. Keep the left leg straight. If your knee is bending, lower the foot till it straightens. Flex that left foot and then draw it up towards you. Press your left hip into the mat as you bring the foot forward a little bit more. Press your right leg into the mat as you bring your left foot forward. Keep flexing that left foot. And breathe. And then lower your left foot to the mat, release the strap, and gently place both feet on the mat and hug your knees to your chest and rock side to side. Maybe circle your knees. Go the other direction. And now, keeping your knees bent, lower your feet to the mat. Keep your heels close to your sit bones. Keep your knees hip distance apart or closer, and have your arms by your side. Press into your big toe mounds, and then slowly lift your hips right up off the mat. How high can you lift them without letting your knees move away from each other? Keep them more or less together, hip distance apart. Slowly lower your hips back down, and then lift your hips right up off the mat again, keeping the knees going towards each other. Can you open your chest, lift it up, chest up too, and lower down. This time press in the big toe mounds of your feet, lift your hips up off the mat, open your chest and walk your shoulder blades together. Lift your hips up a little higher. Reach your hands, clasp your fingers together, and reach your knuckles towards your feet, lifting your hips and chest up even higher. Breathe. Press into the big toe mounds of your feet. Release your hands and slowly lower down to the mat. Draw your left knee into your chest and straighten your right leg. Hug your left knee into your left shoulder. Switch sides, hug your right knee into your right shoulder, your right chest, straightening the left leg. And then lower both feet to the mat. Have your arms rest on the side, on the mat somewhere. Feet hip distance apart, keeping your knees bent. Lift your feet up off the mat. You can point your toes. And now at the count of 4, lower your toes to the mat, and as soon as they touch, come on back up. So we'll begin. 4, 3, 2, 1, and back up. 4, 3, 2, 1, and back down. 4, 3, 2, 1, back up. 4, 3, 2, 1,
and down. 3, 2, 1, and up. 3, 2, 1, and down. 3, 2, 1, and up. 3, 2, 1. Couple more times. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1, and down. 3, 2, 1, and up. 3, 2, 1, and gently hug your knees to your chest and rock side to side. Now reach your hands behind your thighs or your knees and roll along your spine. And then make your way up to a seated position. Straighten your right leg and bring the sole of your left foot to your right inner thigh. Turn and face your left knee and place your left hand on the mat behind your left hip. Roll onto your left knee. Lift your hips up and reach your right arm up and back, stretching towards the back. And then lower back down. Now straighten both legs. Reach under your thighs and internally rotate your thighs. Check in with both feet that they're pointing up in directly towards the ceiling, so they're straight. You can start with your hands behind you and push your chest forward. Nice straight spine. If you can do so without rounding your back, walk your hands forward. And continue to lean forward with your chest. Press both knees into the mat. Breathe. Can you let go a little bit more? And then come on back up. Bring the sole of your right foot to your left inner thigh. Turn and face your right knee, right hand on the mat behind you. Roll onto your right knee, lifting your hips up. Reach your left arm up and back. And reach behind you. And then lower your hips back down to the mat. Place the sole of your right foot on the mat beside to the inside of your left leg. Now cross that right foot and bring it to the outside of your left leg. With your left hand, hug your right knee. With your right arm, reach behind you for a gentle twist. Come on back to center and straighten your right leg and bring the sole of your left foot onto the mat. Cross your left foot over your right. With your right arm, hug your left knee and bring your left hand behind you and gently twist to the left. Breathe. Make your way back to center. We have one more twist before Shavasana. So I'm going to grab a sweater. If you'd like to grab a sweater or a blanket, do so. I'll be in a seated position during Shavasana, but before we come into Shavasana, come right onto your back. Feet flat on the floor, knees bent. Bring your arms out to the side. Slide your hips over to the left. And now let your knees roll to the right. Turn your gaze and look over your left arm. Breathe into this twist. Find the calm, the peace within this pose. Bring your knees back to center. Slide your hips over to the right and let your knees roll to the left. And turn your gaze and look over your right arm. Bring your knees back to center. If you're coming into Shavasana, bring your arms by your side, palms facing up, and gently straighten your legs. Let the whole weight of your body melt into the mat. Relax every muscle. If your mind wanders, come back to your breath and tap into that calm, tranquility, equanimity, and let go. Thich Nhat Hanh said, "Many people think excitement is happiness, but when you are excited, you are not peaceful. True happiness is based on peace." Allow your breath to deepen. Softly move your fingers, your toes. Gently move your arms, your legs. Reach your arms up over your head and give yourself a full body stretch, stretching your arms, your legs, your torso. Breathing deeply. When you're ready, hug your knees to your chest and gently roll over to your right side. Maybe still keeping your eyes closed if that's right for you. And then when you're ready, in your own time, come on up to a comfortable seated position. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.